I never believed that the universe was listening to my deepest desires, until a stranger's notebook changed everything I thought I knew about reality. 3 months ago, I was David Martinez, a 34-year-old marketing analyst in Denver, Colorado, stuck in a soul-crushing cubicle job that paid the bills but slowly killed my spirit. Every morning, I'd drag myself to that sterile office building on 16th Street, feeling like I was sleepwalking through someone else's life. My alarm would scream at 6:30 a.m., and I'd lie there for those precious 5 minutes, staring at the ceiling, wondering if this was all there was. But what happened on that rainy Tuesday morning in March, what I discovered in that little coffee shop on Colfax Avenue, completely transformed my understanding of how thoughts create reality. And I'm about to share with you the exact process that took me from feeling trapped and hopeless to living a life I could barely have imagined. The thing is, I was raised to believe that success came from grinding it out, putting your head down, and hoping someone noticed your hard work. My parents, both hardworking immigrants from Mexico, taught me that dreams were luxuries. You worked, you survived, you didn't ask for more. So when I found myself at 34, making decent money but feeling completely empty inside, I thought this was just life. I remember that particular Tuesday because it was the day I finally admitted to myself that I was drowning. Not financially, I had a steady paycheck, a decent apartment, even some savings. But emotionally, spiritually, I felt like I was suffocating. I'd been in the same position for 3 years, watching less qualified people get promoted around me, feeling invisible and increasingly bitter. The rain was coming down hard that morning, and my usual coffee shop was packed. So I ducked into this little place I'd never been to before, The Grind on Colfax. It was one of those cozy spots with mismatched furniture and the smell of roasted beans hanging in the air like a warm hug. I ordered my usual, black coffee, no sugar, and grabbed the only empty table in the corner. That's when I noticed it. Someone had left a notebook on the table, forgotten in their rush to leave. I should have turned it into the barista, but something made me pause. The cover was worn leather, and there was something almost magnetic about it. I know that sounds crazy, but I swear I felt this pull to open it. What I found inside changed my life forever. The notebook belonged to someone named Sarah, and it wasn't just any notebook. It was a manifestation journal. Page after page of detailed visualizations, gratitude practices, and what she called evidence of universal alignment. But here's what stopped me cold. Every single thing she had written about wanting to manifest had actually happened. She'd written about wanting to leave her corporate job to start a nonprofit, and there were photos of her ribbon-cutting ceremony. She'd detailed her desire to meet a partner who shared her values, and there were love notes from someone named Marcus. She'd visualized living in a specific neighborhood in Portland, and there was a lease agreement for an apartment on the exact street she'd described. But what really got me wasn't just the successes. It was how she wrote about the process. She talked about her doubts, her fears, the days when she felt like she was fooling herself. She wrote about applying Dr. Joe Dispenza's techniques for rewiring her brain, about using Neville Goddard's visualization methods, about following Abraham Hicks's teachings on vibrational alignment. This wasn't some fairy tale approach. It was grounded, practical, and real. I sat in that coffee shop for 2 hours, reading every word. And for the first time in years, I felt something I'd almost forgotten: hope. That night I couldn't sleep. Sarah's words kept echoing in my mind. The universe responds to clarity and emotion. When you get crystal clear about what you want and feel it as if it's already yours, reality has no choice but to catch up. I'd heard about the law of attraction before, of course, but I'd always dismissed it as wishful thinking for people who couldn't handle real life. Now, holding Sarah's evidence-filled journal, I realized I might have been wrong. The next morning, I made a decision that terrified me. I was going to try it, but I wasn't going to half-ass it. If I was going to test whether manifestation was real, I was going to commit fully for 90 days. I bought my own journal that evening. Nothing fancy, just a simple black notebook from the drugstore. And I started writing. First, I had to get clear on what I actually wanted, which was harder than I expected. I'd been so focused on what I didn't want that I'd never really considered what I did want. After days of soul-searching, I wrote down my first real desire. I wanted to leave my marketing job and become a freelance writer and storyteller. I'd always loved writing, had even majored in English before practical concerns steered me toward business. But the idea of making money from writing seemed impossible. Following Sarah's example, I didn't just write, "I want to be a writer." I got specific. I wrote, "I'm a successful freelance writer earning $6,000 per month helping small businesses tell their stories. I work from home or coffee shops. I choose my clients, and I wake up excited about my work." Then came the hard part, feeling it as real. Every morning I'd spend 20 minutes in what I called my future self meditation. I'd close my eyes and imagine myself a year from now, checking my email to find inquiry after inquiry from potential clients. I'd visualize the satisfaction of crafting the perfect sentence, the joy of helping a small business owner find their voice, the freedom of setting my own schedule. But let me be honest, those first few weeks were rough. Every morning I'd do my visualization and affirmations, and then I'd go to my soul-sucking job and feel like I was living a lie. My inner critic was relentless. "You're 34 and you want to be a writer. You have no portfolio, no connections, no business experience. You're delusional." The breakthrough came in week 3. I was walking to lunch when I overheard 2 women talking about their struggle to find someone to write web copy for their new bakery. Without thinking, I approached them and offered to help. They were skeptical. I was just some guy in a suit. But I was so passionate about their vision that they agreed to let me try. That weekend, I wrote the most heartfelt, authentic web copy I'd ever created. I poured everything into it, their story, their dreams, their love for baking. When I sent it to them, they were speechless. Not only did they pay me $500 for the work, but they recommended me to 3 other small business owners. Suddenly, I had my first taste of what Sarah had written about: synchronicity. The universe seemed to be conspiring to help me. Within a month, I had 5 clients. Within 2 months, I was making almost as much freelancing as I was at my day job. But here's where it gets interesting, and where I learned that manifestation isn't just about getting what you want. It's about becoming who you need to be to handle what you want. As my freelance income grew, I started noticing patterns. The clients who found me weren't just random. They were exactly the kind of people I'd visualized working with. Creative, passionate business owners who valued storytelling and authentic connection. It was as if my thoughts were creating my reality, literally attracting the right opportunities and people into my life. In month 2, something unexpected happened. I was having coffee with a client, Maria, who owned a small restaurant in 5 Points. She was telling me about her struggle to get local media coverage when she suddenly stopped mid-sentence. "You know," she said, "my friend runs a marketing agency, and they're looking for someone with your exact skills. But it's not just any agency. They specialize in helping minority-owned businesses grow. I think you two should meet." The next week, I met with Carlos Rodriguez, the agency owner. Not only did he offer me a contract that would double my income, but he also shared something that gave me chills. He said he'd been visualizing finding a writer who understood both the technical side of marketing and the emotional side of storytelling. Someone who could help his clients not just grow their businesses, but tell their stories in a way that created real connection with their communities. "I've been putting this intention out to the universe for months," he told me, "and here you are." That's when I truly understood what Abraham Hicks meant about vibrational alignment. I wasn't just attracting clients, I was attracting opportunities that aligned with my deepest values and desires. The universe wasn't just giving me what I wanted, it was giving me what I needed to become the person I was meant to be. By month 3, I had enough confidence and income to quit my corporate job. My last day at that sterile office was April 15th, tax day, which felt appropriately symbolic. I remember walking out of that building for the last time, feeling like I was emerging from a cocoon. But the real magic happened when I started incorporating gratitude practices into my daily routine. Every morning I'd write down 3 things I was grateful for, but not just surface-level stuff. I'd dig deep. I'm grateful for the courage to bet on myself. I'm grateful for the trust my clients place in me. I'm grateful for the alignment I feel between my work and my values. This practice of gratitude seemed to amplify everything. The more grateful I became, the more opportunities appeared. It was like tuning into a frequency that was always there, but I'd been too busy complaining to notice. One morning in early May, I was working from my favorite coffee shop when a woman approached my table. She was probably in her 50s with kind eyes and a warm smile. "Excuse me," she said, "but I couldn't help noticing your notebook. Are you Sarah?" My heart stopped. "No," I said, "but I think I found your notebook a few months ago." Her face lit up. "You're the one. I've been wondering who found it. I'm Sarah." We sat and talked for hours. She told me about her journey, about how manifestation had transformed not just her external circumstances, but her entire relationship with herself and the world. She'd started the journal after attending a Dr. Joe Dispenza workshop, feeling skeptical but desperate enough to try anything. "The thing most people don't understand," she said, "is that manifestation isn't about getting the universe to give you what you want. It's about aligning yourself with who you already are at your deepest level. When you do that, what you want starts showing up naturally." As she spoke, I realized my transformation wasn't just about changing careers. It was about remembering who I was before the world told me who I should be. The writer, the storyteller, the person who believed in the power of authentic connection, that person had always been there, waiting for me to raise my vibration enough to let him emerge. 3 months after finding Sarah's notebook, I was earning $7,000 a month as a freelance writer, working with clients I genuinely loved, and waking up every morning excited about my work. But more than that, I felt aligned with my purpose in a way I'd never experienced before. The law of attraction taught me that we're all conscious creators of our reality. Every thought, every emotion, every belief is a vote for the life we're creating. For years, I'd been unconsciously voting for mediocrity, limitation, and quiet desperation. Once I learned to vote for possibility, abundance, and authentic expression, my entire world shifted. I still have challenging days. Manifestation isn't a magic wand that eliminates all problems. But now I know that every challenge is an opportunity to align more deeply with who I'm becoming. When I face setbacks, I ask myself, what is this trying to teach me? How is this helping me grow into the person who can handle my dreams? The notebook that changed my life now sits on my desk, a reminder that the universe is always listening, always ready to support us when we're ready to support ourselves. Sarah gave it to me that day in the coffee shop, saying she felt called to pass it on to someone who would use it well. "Besides," she said with a wink, "I've got everything I wrote about and more. Time to manifest something new." Last week, I received an email that made me cry. It was from a young woman named Jessica who'd read some of my work online. She wrote, "Your story about following your dreams gave me the courage to start my own business. I've been stuck in a job I hate for 5 years, but your words reminded me that I have the power to create my dream life. Thank you for showing me what's possible." That's when I knew my spiritual awakening was complete. I'd gone from being someone who received inspiration to someone who could offer it to others. The law of attraction had worked its magic not just by changing my circumstances, but by helping me become someone who could be a source of light for others. If you're watching this and feeling stuck, if you're wondering whether change is really possible, if you're tired of living someone else's version of your life, I want you to know this. Your thoughts create your reality. The power of intention is real. Attracting abundance, whether financial, emotional, or spiritual, is your birthright. But you have to be willing to bet on yourself. You have to be willing to feel foolish, to face your fears, to align with your highest vibration, even when everything around you suggests it's impossible. The universe is waiting for you to remember who you really are. It's waiting for you to step into your power as a conscious creator. It's waiting for you to write your own story of transformation. Your dreams aren't too big. You're not too old, too late, or too ordinary. You're exactly where you need to be to begin the most important journey of your life. The journey back to yourself. The coffee shop where this all began is still there on Colfax Avenue. Sometimes I go back and sit at that corner table, remembering the person I was just 3 months ago. And every time, I'm filled with gratitude for the synchronicity that brought Sarah's notebook into my life and reminded me that magic is real. We just have to be brave enough to believe in it. If you believe the universe is conspiring to help you create your dreams, comment below. I trust the process. And if this story reminded you of your own power to transform your life, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories of real transformation and manifestation. Share this with someone who needs to remember their own magic, because we're all in this beautiful, mysterious journey together. Your dream life is waiting. The question is, are you ready to manifest it?